Ever since I tried the Moira Beauty blush in my trying every drugstore blush video, I knew I had to try more from this brand because I was so impressed with that ombre blush that they have. So I got a full face of stuff to try here. They have so many interesting formulas at some really affordable prices as well. So I'm just so curious to see what is a real hit here and what's passable. Maybe we'll find some real hidden gems. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm so intrigued to see what's good or not from this brand. So let's go ahead and start with the base product. They do have foundations, 2 different formulas, but I wanted to try their newest one, which is their Complete Wear Soft Matte Foundation. So this says it's a lightweight vegan formula that provides a buildable to medium to full coverage for a flawless and natural makeup finish, developed with an advanced and innovative microporous powder that controls shine, oil, and sebum, while niacinamide and peptide complex help blur pores and create even skin texture. So it does have some skincare ingredients in there. Cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, gluten-free, blah, 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 blah. I also don't believe this has fragrance in it. I don't believe any of their products do. I'm not completely sure on this, but we will see as we continue to try them out, but I don't see it in the ingredient list. I got the shade 100N, which is the lightest shade with neutral undertones. This is a $20 foundation. You get 1 ounce, 1.01 ounces in this nice glass bottle with a pump. Packaging seems great. I'm gonna start, I have no idea how much to use, so let's start out with 1 pump. It's actually quite liquidy. Looks like it's gonna be a nice match. And I am going to apply this with my sponge. It had some really interesting claims with that like ingredient that's supposed to control shine, and I do get pretty oily, so I'm really curious. Okay, this is definitely giving me coverage. Really curious to see if that controls oil. It's definitely blending in. It's taking a little bit of work almost. I'm not sure if it's because my sponge is a little bit too wet, or maybe it's just not a great foundation to use with a sponge. I'll test the other side with a brush just to see if we get a smoother application. And that was the whole pump, so I definitely think my sponge soaked up a lot of it. Shade is pretty good. I'm interested to see if it will oxidize or not. I'm just gonna finish this half of my face. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be so liquidy. And I would say this is a pretty solid medium coverage. I think if you went in with another layer, you could probably do that full coverage. It actually looks really pretty now that it's blended. I only have a little bit left, so let me just build that up. See how it layers on itself. I mean, yeah, that's pretty. I would say it's true to that soft matte finish. Still looks like skin, and we'll see if it controls oil, but I'm really curious to see with a sponge how this ends up working. I'm gonna use this Rose Ink foundation brush, and we'll start to stipple. Oh yeah, this is definitely going a much longer way with the sponge. I mean the brush. Yeah, it definitely doesn't smell like it has any fragrance in it. It kind of just smells like foundation, so I'm pretty happy that there's no like super synthetic fragrance in there. It doesn't look the smoothest with a brush, but I find that with most brushes. That's why I love a sponge. So then I just go over to smooth out the texture. The shade is definitely nice and light. It's almost looking too light for me, but I'm sure with bronzer it'll be fine. So maybe a good option for us very pale people. It looks really nice. There is some dryness on my nose that I feel like is accentuated a tad. But yeah, this looks pretty decent. I'm intrigued to see how it will wear, because that's really the true telltale sign with foundation, right? It's like a lot of them look nice at first, but will they wear well? Especially with my like new favorite foundations. It's got a high standard to live up to. For my under eyes, I don't have any products from them, so I'm just gonna take my Exa under eye corrector and then just blend that out. I feel like with these foundations that are sometimes a tad light for me, brings out the dark circles even more. That's all right. That's why we have makeup. And then let's do my House Labs concealer. They did have a concealer, by the way. I don't know, I'm so picky with concealer. I didn't really, like the shades were a little confusing too, so I decided to just try the foundation first. Blended really well with my concealer, so no more complaints. It's not really settling in any weird places yet. Onto the cheek products though. I have 2 here that sound really interesting. First, starting off with this from Moira Beauty, the Face Sculpt Liquid Contour. I think this might be one of their fairly new products, or maybe it just recently went viral, but the shade that I have is currently sold out. Hopefully it comes back, but it's called the Face Sculpt Liquid Contour. This is the shade 100 Fair Light. They have 4 different shades here, and this fair shade looks really nice and cool. So I'm really excited to try this one out, and it was $7.50. So it says it's a lightweight, soft focus liquid contour for flawless and sculpted cheekbones, long-lasting buildable coverage, and transfer-resistant formula. It will easily blend over foundation without feeling sticky or oily. Let's see about that. So it just comes in this big, chunky doe foot packaging. It takes up a lot of product actually, so I'm gonna have to be careful applying this. But it looks pigmented, and I think the shade looks quite nice. Instead of applying this directly to my face, because I think it might be a little bit too pigmented, I'm just going to take a small brush. This is the Luxie Small Contouring. We're just going to pick up the product on the back of my hand, make sure it is evenly coated, and just see what this does. Definitely not a super cool contour. It's more in that like neutral cool shade. Okay, I'm glad I used a brush. It's applying nice and evenly. It's using whatever's left for the jawline. Pulling a little warmer on my face than maybe the swatch showed. Let's try it directly on the face just to see. I'm kind of scared. Still blended out nice and easily. This is for sure a pigmented product, so if you're pale, fair skin like me, I would use the brush technique, because applying it directly on my forehead just used a little bit more than I would like. And I think the shade is also slightly warmer than I would prefer. I'm gonna swatch it next to my e.l.f. Halo Glow in the Cool Contour shade. This is my current favorite. This e.l.f. one's definitely not as pigmented. Yeah, you can tell this is almost like a bronzer shade for me, and this is a true cool like stone colored contour. So definitely not like a horrible product, right? It could still work as a bronzer. Be nice if they expanded the shades, because I mean it's super pigmented and feels honestly high end for the quality. It also seems like the type of product you'd want to work in sections with, so you don't have it like drying and being harder to blend on, you know, one part of your face. Out of all the contour products I have, maybe not my favorite just because of the shade, but yeah. Dang, it is pigmented, so we'll see. Next, I wanted to pick up one of these liquid blushes. These are called their Love Steady liquid blushes, and these are $8.50. Seems like a similar concept to the contour, and I got the shade Ideally, which is this super cool tone pink. It says it has easily blends with high pigment payoff, 7 shades of radiant finish. There's also 5 shades of the matte finish. Okay, so I actually got one of the matte finishes. I don't think I completely realized that when I ordered this. Maybe if I like it, I will try one of the radiant ones, but let's do a little swatch. Seems super pigmented as well. It's this really bright, cool pink. I feel like that's probably more than enough. Okay, I'm just gonna clean off that contour brush we used and just use the same small contouring brush to blend it out, hoping it doesn't dry quickly. Okay, we are blushing today. It's actually really pretty, not as pigmented as I was expecting, which is good, because some of these are too pigmented and it can just be like really hard to blend out, especially with these brighter shades. And I feel like this is the perfect level of pigment where it is pigmented, but it's not like gonna cover your whole face in pigment. Okay, that was pretty. I don't feel like it's too matte on my cheeks. It kind of is like a little bit satiny. It actually still has a really nice creamy texture. Intriguing. Before we use the setting powder that I have, we'll let everything settle a little bit. I want to do my brows with this is their 1.5mm precision brow pencil. So it's a super tiny brow pencil, and I got the shade Taupe. I was excited they had a taupe shade. Swatching it, it feels like a little bit more of a stiff brow pencil that you might have to use some more pressure with. I do already have a little bit of shaping brow gel in, so I'm curious about this to see. I'm gonna have to like, oh no, okay. It's actually giving me really nice pigment. I think that's actually a great shade. Sometimes with these taupes, it's either really cool toned or they're still too warm, even though it's called taupe. But I think they nailed the tone of this. It's a nice blonde shade. This is $6, by the way, which is a really nice price compared to, say, the NYX micro brow pencil, which is usually around $10. This was really nice. I was kind of worried about the shade and if it would be too stiff on the brows, but it gave me really great color payoff. I love the thinness of it. For $6, so definitely can't complain. Next, we have this really interesting product from them. I had seen this on Amazon and I was like really curious to try it. So this is their soft focus waterproof setting powder. They have a lot of different shades of this. I got the like translucent sheer fair shade, which is 00. It says that it's waterproof, which is very intriguing. I'm not sure if we'll be testing that fully. Maybe we will at the end of the day. But this is a $12 powder. There's even like this video of them pouring water over it. I'll put it on the screen now. That's cool. But yeah, I'm just really curious to see how this looks on the face. I'm gonna set my under eyes with a different powder because pressed powders in my under eyes, they usually just never work. But let's go in with a fluffy brush. Oh, this is actually the shade 100, just the lightest shade that they have. Really pretty like embossing on there. I'm interested to see if this is like a thick pressed powder or if it's gonna be nice and smoothing. Definitely not tinting my face. It does say that it's translucent, which is a good thing. You know how sometimes pressed powders can just be a little bit darker yellow? Okay, this has a really nice finish all over the face. Looks nice and soft matte. Like it definitely felt like it set my foundation down, but it doesn't look too heavy like a lot of pressed powders can. I will say before I set the foundation, just like in this area is looking a little bit textured. So we'll see if that gets worse, possibly better. It's not horrible by any means. I'm just like comparing it to my favorite foundations and I'm like, those look a little bit better. This brand has so many products and I feel like they're not really known for just one category. Like they have tons of affordable products and their eyeshadows, they have so many different types and a lot of them look so gorgeous. And it doesn't look like they're directly trying to dupe a lot of things, but these seem like affordable options for maybe some more popular items. So I have 3 eyeshadows here. I had to get 3 different formulas to try. Let's start out with this. It's their newest eyeshadow formula, which are called their Chroma Light eyeshadows. This is a $6 eyeshadow and it's the shade Lilac Love. It says it's a highly pigmented metallic finish with a foiled effect. Its microfine glitter provides maximum sparkle with minimal fallout. Creamy and smooth, blends seamlessly for a radiant and versatile look. Let's swatch all the options we have here and then we'll decide what to use. That is so pretty. It definitely has more of a sheer base, it seems like. That was nice and pigmented, but it looks like it built up a little bit more. It has this really pretty sheer base with like a purpley blue shift, reminding me of like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow, but it's not that like creamy feeling that the ColourPop ones have. It just like feels like a really basic eyeshadow. Next, they have these cream shadows that looked really interesting, so I was like, let's get it. This is the Everlust Shimmer Cream Eyeshadow. I got the shade 01 Pearl White. If I see a pearly white shade, I have to get it. These ones are $7.50. It says it's a eyeshadow that boasts highly pigmented color and a stunning shimmery finish, long-lasting formula, mesmerizing eye looks without worrying about creasing or fading. You can use a brush or your fingertips. Oh, feels like really smooth and moussey almost. Not one of those like dry cream shadows. Okay, that actually, she's got the pigment. That's a really pretty white pearly shade. It has a pretty true silver reflect, which I love. It's not like a white gold. Last but not least, this was on their bestsellers list, the shade specifically, so I was like, let's try it. This is the Starshow Shadow Pot. Buildable loose pigment formula with microfine glitter and light reflecting pearls. Lightweight high pigment glides across the lid. You can do sheer, bold, and comfortable long wear eye looks. They claim to be long wear. We will see. This is the shade 017 Eureka. This has really pretty packaging. So this just looks like it's a pressed pigment. It has that little lid on the top of it, reminding me of like a Bodyography glitter pigment or the Victoria Beckham one. And this looks like a gorgeous taupey shade. That's so creamy. Yeah, this feels just like a Bodyography one. Oh my god. Okay, I feel like we have to use that one. That pigment is insane in the shine. All right, I'm excited. That was $7.50, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned the price. I feel like we need some crease shade going on though, so I'm gonna go into my Persona palette with that light beige shade called Humble. I think we're just gonna put that shadow all over the lid. And I'm just taking a little bit of the Charming shade, which is a neutral warmish brown, just to deepen up the crease even more. I'm also gonna take a little bit of the cool brown next to it called Maverick. They do also have like actual eyeshadow palettes, which I didn't get because I already had so many of like their single eyeshadows to try, and they have even more formulas than this, by the way. They have these really cool like chrome liquid eyeshadows and some other interesting like pressed formulas. Okay, let's put this on. I'm so excited. It feels extremely creamy, like butter almost. Whoa, this is so pretty. It's not even giving me fallout either, which is kind of miraculous. And can we just take a moment for this gorgeous like gray shade? It's so pretty. I mean, I feel like I'm not even pressing my finger or picking up a lot of product, and just the sheer amount of pigment that is in this is crazy. If you're looking for that highly shiny wet look type of like pressed pigment, look no further. I'm so impressed with these. Like, okay, I got a little bit of fallout over here, but I have tried so many of these other little pressed pigments that I like a lot. But these are like basically outperforming those, and this is the most affordable one I've ever tried. Really reminding me of that Victoria Beckham shade that I have, the Taupe one, but like way prettier, because those Victoria Beckham ones can be a little bit dry. They're so pigmented. So this is the only product we discovered from the video. I'd still be happy with it, but I still want to try this cream shadow we have in the pearly shade. I'm gonna use this on a brush and just gonna pop this in the inner corner. Do a little bit on the brow bone as well. I don't know if this is applying the best with a brush. Probably just your finger would be a good way to go. And I did wear this the other day and really liked it. It's a nice, sheer, pretty purple. I have a little application clip that I will show you as well. So this one's really pretty, even though we didn't get to use it today. I just had to try on this pressed pigment. Oh, almost forgot. I have this really interesting looking eyeliner as well. They have tons of fun, like eyeshadow eyeliner options. This is their Supernova Multichrome Gel Liner. When I saw this, I thought of the Danessa Myricks ones that I have. This is the shade 010 Ultra, because all the shades sort of have like it's a multi-chrome, so it's like not even duo shift. Even more than that. Our unique blend of pigment shifts colors depending on the angle of light, giving you a rainbow effect that's perfect for any occasion. Glides on smoothly and dries quickly to a waterproof, smudge-proof, and transfer-resistant finish. Cool. Okay, the packaging is really interesting. It's just like a clear pencil, and I got the shade 010 Ultra. Of course, I got the purple shade. This one looks... It looks quite glittery, which I'm interested, like, is that safe for the waterline? I don't know if they have pictures of them wearing it on a waterline. I don't see anyone wearing it on their waterline in the pictures. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna be safe and probably just draw on my lower lash line. Not completely showing up to be like super shifty. It is $6, by the way. Yeah, I'm not so sure about this one. Maybe I'd have to try a different shade as like an actual eye pencil for the top lid. I mean, it looks pretty, but I'm also curious about like, can you put it in the waterline? Because the glitter looks a little bit chunky, but just tried to rub it off and it's still completely there. So it looks like it's gonna be really long wearing. I feel like with these kinds of eye looks, I always just want to do mascara and just let the eyeshadow shine. So I'm just gonna do my Maybelline Sky High Mascara. Next, let's move on to lips, which there are quite a few options for as well. By the way, I literally just went to wash my hands with soap and water to get a clean canvas for more swatches. This is the blush, that's the contour, and that's the eyeliner, which are all still on my hand. That's kind of crazy, actually. Let's start with the Lip Appeal Waterproof Lip Liner. I got the shade 011, which is Dolly. Tried to pick out some cool tone shades, hopefully, which can be a really hard thing to do. So this also claims to be waterproof. Interesting, they have a lot of like waterproof product. This is really pigmented, feels like quite thick. I think the shade is pretty nice, and it is a twist up. I mean, it's applying really nicely and pigmented. This is a little more pink than I would go for. I usually like things really muted, but yeah, no complaints. So this lip liner has that thick, like almost sticky feel to it, where it doesn't seem like it's really gonna come off, but it's not really my personal favorite texture for lip liners. Maybe something to keep in mind, kind of similar to the NYX Line Louds, where it's kind of like a liquid lipstick in pencil form. Let's move on to the two lip options I have here. Let's start with this, which is just their signature lipstick. This is $7.50 and this is the shade 16 Mauve Dream. I think this product was also on their bestseller list. Again, tried to pick the most like purple shade. It says it's a lightweight, creamy balm texture formula and lip shine in one, mango seed butter and squalane for comfortable wear that instantly melts on the lips. A must-have lip shine without being sticky. Sounds good to me. No scent I can pick up with these, which is amazing for a drugstore brand. I feel like drugstore lip products especially can just be so scented, and I hate that. This is the shade 16. This looks gorgeous. It says that it's a balmy, like shiny texture, which is everything I love, honestly. Okay, pigment. That's gorgeous. Formula-wise, really reminding me of the Flower Beauty one in Blush Rose. Oh my gosh, actually shade-wise as well. This is the Flower Beauty Blush Rose, and that's the Mauve Dream. I have a type. This is gorgeous and really pigmented. So just like I say about the Flower Beauty lipsticks, I think this is similar to the Victoria Beckham Posh lipsticks, where it's thin, shiny, and balmy. So if you like that formula, maybe want a more affordable option, I could totally see myself wearing this one all the time. I really like the texture of it. Doesn't seem like too messy or melty either. And I love, love, love this cool tone shade. I think I hit the jackpot with picking out this shade. Okay, next I wanted to try their Glow Getting Hydrating Lip Oil. I think this was also on the bestseller list. This is $7.50 and I got the shade 012, which is called Only Smooches. Again, it's a really cool toned mauve purple. Apricot coconut oil jojoba. It's a lip treatment that actually makes your lips healthier while finishing them off with a beautiful gloss. Non-sticky formula to give your lips that coveted glass-like glossy shine. Let's see about that. Let me take this one off first. So this is supposed to be like a hydrating lip oil, but it also looked kind of pigmented in the swatches. So let's see. Okay, it is pigmented. Whoa. So that's the shade Only Smooches, definitely pulling a lot more purple than this mauve one that we had in the lipstick form. Also same thing, no scent with these, amazing. Ooh, that is nice. These are, usually when I think of a lip oil, I think of something like thin that doesn't really stick to the lips, but this isn't sticky, but it's also giving me a really nice amount of pigment, and it has this like thickness to it that I really like in lip products because they just stay on your lips and give you that really shiny look. I love the look of this one as well. Whoa. I think if you like something more shiny, you would love this. You still like some shine, but maybe more of like a pigmented lipstick formula, I think you would like their signature lipstick. Okay, so let's review everything we tried here and I'll give you my favorites and things I think you could pass on. Let's start with the foundation. It's the Complete Wear Soft Matte Foundation. Love the shade. It was nice and thin. Application was nice. I think it looks really decent. It's just settling a little bit in my like lines around my nose and mouth more than I would prefer. Maybe I used a little bit more product. Right off the bat, it's not my favorite foundation. I will have to continue to wear it and update you on that. So it still could be a really nice drugstore foundation option, but it's still $20. So we'll see, because the About Face one I tried is $22 and I really love that one. So it's hard not to compare them. Next we have the contour and blush. This contour was really nice, although it's not as cool as I would prefer. Really nice amount of pigment, and it's sort of like a gel cream hybrid almost. Like it's not as thin as the KVD one. Kind of feels like the e.l.f. one maybe a little bit. This one is more sheer though. Between these two, I would still probably grab the e.l.f. one just because I like the shade better. But this is really nice and pigmented. Maybe if you just prefer a slightly more like neutral contour, I think this is a pretty good pick. For blush, I think this was really pretty. I'm really glad that it's not overly pigmented like a lot of liquid blushes are nowadays. Still on my hand after I wash it off, which is pretty crazy. I think it looks gorgeous though. Love this shade. Ideally, I thought it might be a little bit too bright, but I really like the cool tone. They have tons of other shades. Interested in trying the dewy version because I think this matte version is really nice. And then for this powder, I think it looks really nice on the skin. Hard to tell because the foundation's also new to me, so I'll have to continue playing around with it. But it doesn't quite like feel or look as heavy as a lot of rest powders can be, and I'm interested to see how it does oil control wise, but I really like the shade and how it actually matches my skin. I'll have to test out the waterproof vibe of this. The brow pencil for $6. Love. Think it's a great shade. Definitely on the stiffer side, but you don't have to like really dig into your skin to get the pigment out of it, so I really like it because I definitely prefer the super fine micro tips. And like I said, the shade is great. $6. I think it's great. On to eyeshadow. I want to start with this cream, which I did try the other day just so I could get a feel for it, and I wore it on its own and it creased on me. Like it's actually quite an emollient formula that doesn't seem to dry down, which is really bizarre because they claim that it's crease proof and long wearing. So I don't know if it's just the shade, but out of all the eyeshadows, I'm definitely gonna say pass on the creams. I really like the shade, but I just don't feel like the wear is there. And then we have their new Chroma light shadows. I think these are really pretty. I like how they're nice and small. Definitely remind me of like a ColourPop Super Shock, but less of a creamy formula. This was really pretty to wear on its own. I'm interested in getting some more shades, so I think that's a really great shadow option too. But last but not least, this is the little pressed pigment. If you get anything out of this video, I mean this shade specifically, honestly one of the most gorgeous eyeshadows I think I've ever put on my lids, like even more than my Natasha palettes. Like this is an insane product. I hope that like the rest of the shades are just as pretty and pigmented as this. If they are, I want them all. This is so pretty. This is one of those eyeshadows where if I saw a video of someone using this, I'd be like, I need it. I have to go get it, especially for the price. So this was on the bestsellers list and I can see why. This Chroma eyeliner was really interesting. It didn't really like wow me. Maybe it's just the shade. I might have to play around with it a little bit more. And I'm not sure that it's safe to use on the waterline. So definitely some really interesting colorways. So I'm still kind of like iffy on this one. Lip products. For this lip liner, waterproof lip liner, the shade isn't my absolute favorite. I also just don't love the texture of these types of lip liners. Even though they do last a long time, I just think I would probably grab a ColourPop lip liner over this. So might be nice if you're looking for something that's waterproof, but not my favorite. Signature lipstick, I think getting a little messy, so definitely just be careful when putting the cap back on. Packaging doesn't feel like luxury, of course, for the price, but I feel like you're getting a really luxury formula. So this is beautiful. I think the shade is gorgeous. It's moisturizing, it's shiny, it's pigmented. No complaints with this. Also interested in some more shades. If you're looking for a good cool tone though, the Mauve Dream shade, really pretty. And we also have the Glow Getter Hydrating Lip Oil. I think is gorgeous as well. Really pigmented for lip oil. Like, it's definitely not an oily consistency. It's nice and thick, but it's not sticky like a gloss would be, but it gives you that super glossy look. So it's just one of those really interesting, like, hybrid new age shiny lip products, and I really like it. This really purple shade, Only Smooches, is pretty too. So I think the lip products were definitely a hit for me. This was super fun to try. Overall, testing them out, I feel like in the eye and lip product category is where they tend to shine the most. I'd be interested in trying even more from this brand. Let me know if maybe you want a part 2, and I'll try everything else that I haven't tried. Let me know what piqued your interest the most out of these products. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and there will be a video on the screen here so we can keep hanging out. I'll see you over there. Bye.